Welcome back to a Windy City They Tan Watch, the channel where truth meets freedom, right here in the heart of Chicago. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell to stay updated with our latest investigations, interviews, and insights. Your support fuels our fight for freedom and truth. So, let's dive into today's journey, armed with knowledge and the relentless spirit of the Windy City.
Howdy folks, WindyCityThetanWatch. It is Sunday, May 12th, Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to everybody in the audience who's watching. I started the channel, I started the live, and then all of a sudden the train stopped, so we're still on the train, but we're at the last stop, so we'll be at the LaSalle station right now. All right. Hopefully everybody's having a great Sunday. Let me turn this a little bit. It's caused me a little bit of pain. All right. We are going to head over to the organization for a bit of an audit and protest. See if we can find any body rhinos out. It's a beautiful day here in Chicago. 72 degrees, sunny. No real wind to speak of. So there should be people out there. Patrick has a great reminder for us. And then, hi Susan, how are you today? I guess the new news would be that I finally did edit the video from last Sunday. And I kind of wanted to string together a few things. I wanted to show that, hey, at the beginning of the day, the police came through, and in between 5 and 15 minutes, they were at the org complaining about chalk or tape. And then without me having ever performed an activity, they told me not to perform a specific activity. That activity was to put up my camera in people's faces. Then I went through a little montage of how respectful I am when I'm doing the body routing or watching the body routers. That I've always given them a great deal of space. I've never approached them. Never given them any reason to fear in regards to what's going on. And I've verbalized it several times. Matter of fact, many times I'll say, hey, please, when you review this, please note that I'm keeping a respectful distance. So, all right, we're up out of the train, so I'm going to go ahead and change camera around. Up. All right, so now we're on the back camera. Let me put this, I had that angled up so that I could see my face. We're up on Clark. The montage shows that I'm very respectful, always giving them distance, only making contact to the other participants that they pass flyers out to. And then I help inform and educate those people as to what they just received. We then saw at the end of the day, Scientology sent somebody out who was one of the body routers. This person has English as a second language, had a recording in English, so you know that the org sent them out, right? They took one of their members and put them in harm's way. So she came out, she put her camera in my face, I backed up, she moved forward, put her camera in my face, I backed up, she moved forward, put her camera in my face. How you doing, Grim? When the police came, they said, oh, we don't see any assault there. So on that new video, you'll see that I've got a 3-panel, which shows from separate angles that I absolutely was assaulted. As we come up, we've got an org member walking across. Well, now they're going to walk down the street. Behind the bus stop, you'll see somebody in a suit with a soda. Looks to be the Big Gulp from 7-Eleven. There's a lot of college students over there. Again, if you're just joining, happy Mother's Day. I'm going to go to the back alley real quick just to see if there's any activity in the back alley, and then I'll move towards the front of the org. Today I am equipped with the body camera. Oh, look at all these smokers. Let's send them back inside. I do have my body camera with me. So I now have better coverage when we've got people that are going to come out and pester me or try to bull bait me. Watch the cockroaches scramble. Anybody have any positive they want to talk about with the Church of Scientology? Remind my audience why it's a good idea, why we'd want to come in and see the Church of Scientology. Are we okay that women can't report sexual abuses if the member that commits it is a member of the church? Is child trafficking acceptable? So do we like that children have to listen to audits when the adults are talking the most perverse terms and telling them about sexual proclivities? This is the cult that we want to support? Nobody has anything positive to say about their cult? And stay inside. There's nothing for you out here. Okay, so our day has started. Again, with the weather today, I'm guessing there's going to be body riders out there. We've got the lock on the garbage can. Oh, the lock seems pretty tight. There is stuff in the garbage can. I can see the shredding in the clear bag there. So even though they've got stuff in the garbage can, it is shredded. Thank you, Potato. Yeah, that, you know what, I should have said clear cognition too. I was actually somewhat surprised that they usually scramble inside much faster than that. Little Potato is using, or I'm sorry, a Little Potato is using the emoji meant just for her. It's our little secret. Don't let a Little Potato know any different. Yesterday on the other channel, right, Windy Wanders the City, I did a little tour of the 606 trail, which is an old rails system that was elevated above ground and was turned into a trail or a community park now. So if you feel like it, please head over there. And go ahead and give it a like, subscribe, see if that's something you like. A lot of times when I end the stream, I'll walk around the city and I'll show off some of the architecture and cultural elements, the art that's all over the city. Now we're heading up Clark Street. Very warm day today. What I love is that the police interaction at the end of that day. Oh, we've got a couple of cultists out here on the patio having their lunch. Is this our fun Joe Cicala? Howdy. Howdy. You like eating lunch with your cult members over here? So I'm pretty sure that's the brother Cicala. interesting. I'm not sure what's really going on here. Let's go ahead and make sure that the blinds are shut on this beautiful Sunday. Yep, they may have been shut before, but I'm sure that once I came in from the back. How you doing? Anything positive to say about the cult? And we've got the doors closed as well, right? Because like all churches, this cult has to operate in the shadows. Communication is a universal solvent, but they can't stand that solvent, nor can they stand light as a solvent. So, there's a lot of college students who are moving out or in today. So I'll have the camera up in the air quite a bit. I usually don't like to give them any pressure. As we look up, right, the top floors have have all their shades down as well. Yes, thank you. Michael, I need you to I love that you're on here in real time and you always give me some of the best information and clues. And I love that you can do the research so quickly. Well, you probably already have a lot of this in your head. You and Declared Dave are two that I rely on a lot. No One is awesome. Patrick Skinner is awesome. Right? Some combination of people who just took the time to study or were ex-Scientologists themselves. Let's take a trip over to Dearborn and State Street, see if we can find anybody. Now, I will say that there were some new faces that I saw down there in the alley. And that was an awesome opportunity for me to remind them about calling their mother and wishing them a happy Mother's Day. This afternoon, I will be over at the police department checking on the status of them upgrading the complaint against the person who assaulted me. And the assault was probably more in the form of stalking, but assault still says that you look to have given the intent of harming someone. And the person did invade my space quite a bit. Thank you, Sally. You're probably hearing this bus pretty loudly. Just wanted to back. I was standing right at the back end of that bus, so you were hearing the exhaust. And folks, I think there's something important about getting those shades down that most people that are citizens of the neighborhood, they always wonder, why are the shades down? So I know it's a small trivial thing, but when we bring that down, it makes the church cult act in such a suspicious way that it's very uninviting for members of the community to come in. Howdy, sir. That person was a veteran of the Navy, not the fake Navy. So, and I'm going to guess by his age, he was likely a W-2 or maybe even Korean. We're walking down Harrison, approaching Dearborn. Just want to see if we can find any body routers out in the wild. On Friday? Yeah, Friday I came for graduation, and there wasn't much graduation, and I didn't have that much time, but Chad Olson, so remember there's Chadwick Burke, he's the one that claims there was an incident between he and Nance Drew, and then there's Chad Olson. He usually just sits at the desk. Looking down Dearborn, and I'm not seeing anything as we look down here. He usually sits at the desk, and he, as he approached the org, he asked me what I had against human rights, which I think is about the worst possible question he could have asked, because there is zero indication that I have anything against human rights. There is zero indication that the church has anything for human rights other than they have a front group that has the word human rights in it, but does nothing to protect human rights. I also reminded him that human trafficking is not the same thing as human rights, and maybe he had that confused, and it would be a good idea for him to go back and word clear that. He was pushing a cart. He then turned around, gave the nice cheesy smile, and sunk back into the org. Thank you for your service, Sally. And my guess is you did things like serve on a ship and perform military actions. You didn't hypothesize a science fiction fantasy philosophy that would indoctrinate and inculcate and brainwash members of society. Howdy, Mexican long hair. For those of you just joining, when we approached the org today, we saw one person walking back from 7-Eleven. He had a big gulp with him. And then we went through the alley, and the alley had, what, maybe 8 people back there? As we went down the alley, I gave everybody the chance to say anything positive about the church. We had 0 responses. I then started listing off just a subset of the crimes of the church, and if it was acceptable that they did human trafficking, and the children were auditing adults who would tell them most perverse things. And they all put the cigarettes out, hung up their phones, and headed inside. Are you watching us with a mustache today, MLH? Which I'm not quite sure if MLH has an alter ego, or if he's doing character acting, but he's had some fun times with Mustachioed Man recently. Definitely head over and check out MLH. Hopefully you're healing very well as well. We're walking down State Street along Jones College Prep. On a Sunday, right, we have no expectation to see people out here. Just a reminder to those of you out there, I do have a body cam now, and I will be wearing the body cam on all future lives. I will say it was a bit of an expensive week, so anything that anybody feels comfortable helping with, that would be great. I definitely would appreciate that. It turned out that we did have some good angles. So Free Xenu Project had an angle which you can see through the reflection of the mirror. The body router approaching me 3 separate times as I retreated 3 separate times. And then Corn Freak has it basically head on. So she can see, you see quite a bit from there. And then my angle is she's just pushing in beyond my camera. Yeah, I wonder how they avoid the stolen valor claims. I guess that the uniform is just enough off of normalcy. There is a Scientologist ahead of me. You can see the gold vest up there. He is walking by himself. It's an older gentleman. I'm pretty sure, no, he's not the one that walked the Scientologist away from the scene of the crime on Sunday. Pretty sure they're coming from the building that I just passed right here. But nonetheless, he's heading back to the org. I'm guessing they're finishing up lunch break. The person that assaulted me, 100%. So earlier that day, I was tracking both her, there were two of them. I always stayed very far away from them. She came back at the end of the day. She had a recording. And again, she's not strong in English. So obviously one of the staff members set her up to come out, put her in harm's way. She had probably little understanding of what she was doing. And then came out to approach me. From the other angles, you can see quite evidently that she walks from quite a distance, more than 4 storefronts away when we first pick her up. She walks directly to me. So this wasn't oh, let me go talk to this interesting person on the sidewalk. It was very intentional that she approached me. Well, let me do a little copyright talk, 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 little copyright talk. As we go past that building, they play their music fairly loud. Ah, the white-haired lady. I'm going to stay wide on the sidewalk. Anything positive to share about the church? The video that I posted just before I came on, it will show, again, just a montage of 6 or 7 different body routers that I followed. And I'm pretty consistent about announcing that, look, I'm staying a safe distance behind, reminding the police that when they review it, that I have never come anywhere near them or approached them to threaten them. I am only there to make contact with the people that they hand their flyers off to. And I inform and educate those people, the vast majority of which return the flyer to me. The only time that I really make contact with the body routers themselves is if they'll double back on me. And what I'll do is let them know that, hey, if you need any help getting out, we can help you get out. So I'm being very helpful in regards to how they can get through that process. Happy Mother's Day. Call your mother. Yes. Happy Mother's Day. Hope you called your mother. So today we saw a lot of people out and back, which was not normal. I would say that we usually don't see that large of a cluster. There were a couple of people in civilian clothes. Now, my understanding is that on occasion, if the staff does well for a week, that the benefit you get is you get to come to the org in civilian clothes that day. But it also might have been in public. I wouldn't really be able to do that. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I should have said that as well, but it's an odd assumption to, like, I don't know if they have children. And I guess really with with their ethics, I shouldn't really care about that kind of intrusion. But quite honestly, we know that they have no ethics, and they will be more than happy to inflict harm or injury on somebody. Yeah, so we had 7 or 8 people in back. We're not really seeing anybody out here. When I approached, there were 2 people, if I'm pointing down the street here, there were 2 people out at All Stars Seafood, which is kind of a sports bar-y place. They have seafood. It's what you would expect from freezer class seafood in that space. It's not terrible, but I mean, it's not high-end restaurant. We've got another staffer coming up the street. So again, I think that as the 1 o'clock hour approaches, that it's returns from lunch. Are you okay that women can't report crimes against them if a member of this church commits that crime? Are you okay with family disconnection? So he turned, right, cut bait, turn around, head back. He's going to go in the back door. They might be on the phone right now with him, so it'll be fun. What I might try and do is play the old game of gotcha and head around back. Again, raising the phone whenever it's just a neighborhood person coming down the streets. I've got my eye on the person at the bottom of the street. Again, I signal my intent on the chat, and I know that somebody's watching it. I just don't know how many. So, reminder. Hi, Osa. How you doing? You're helping your ethical people stay very ethical. Sending them out into harm's way without the tools to do such. Right? Chad Olson tried to have a battle of wits with me the other day. We found out he was unarmed. And jog a little bit down to the end of the street here. Just reminding you that on Friday, Chad Olson, as I approached the org, asked me what I had against human rights. And I challenged him on what he had for human rights. And if he understood that human trafficking and human rights are not the same thing, maybe he would have to go back and do some word clearing. So, look, our buddy's coming down the street or down the alley. We'll see if he stops and retreats. Now, I will say there's a risk that as I come back here, are there more people flowing out the front of the church? Probably. And please remember, I wish that I could just in my live say that whenever you hear the word church, assume that it's got quotes around it. There's somebody making some furtive actions near the Paisan's door. So, right, he's gonna, I don't know if you can tell because it's that far away, but we're seeing his back. He's now turned tail and run again because the truth is very painful to this organization. They have a fear of hearing truth. Apparently, it's penetrating their AirPods and headphones. All right, I'm going to head back up to the top. See if we can get this fellow a tardy slip for the day. Yep. So I'm hustling down the alleyway again. Back on Clark Street. I'm going to put the camera out in the street a little bit. Let the civilians come back down the street without having to be on film. Remember, you've got the billboard up front. So at this point, we've approached the org. Somebody was walking back from their lunch. And then I want to get up here before it gets too close. So at least you have to hear me ask the question. Anything positive to say about the church? Nothing positive? Does anybody find it strange that this church hides behind shades and doors? So as we approached the org today, there were 6 to 8 people back in the alley smoking. It was probably lunchtime. I came down, and I'll say that they held their ground better than normal. Usually they scurry in before I get there. But I'm going to guess that they're starting to be told, hey, don't let him push you around. I then went through just a short list of the crimes that this church commits. The family disconnection, the assaults on females. Asked them if they knew anything positive about this church or why somebody would come in off the street to learn more about this church. And all were mute. So communication is the universal solvent. They just haven't learned how to communicate yet. They have no comm cycles. It's a very busy day here with the college students moving out. I'm guessing end of semester move-outs at this point. Oh. Yeah, I'll put that up there as well. And thank you, Sarlux. Thank you, Mexican long hair. Is it okay if we wait for you here? We did have another person leave. I can't tell if he was public or not. He did have a duffel bag over his shoulder, and he had a blue jacket on. Something else, and again, other than it's an anecdotal statement I'll make right now. For the past 2 to 3 weeks, I have not seen Blue Star security here. So it could be a million things. Church didn't want to spend that kind of money anymore. That's an expensive group to pay money on. We may have been successful in lodging our negative reviews against that company and reminding the other companies or other people who want to hire that company that it's a church or that they're a company that supports the Church of Scientology and therefore human trafficking, family disconnection, elder and child abuse, financial fraud. And it could be just that I would make it very obvious to people who the employees were, and they were on camera and on film. Howdy, Mr. Scala. Anything good to say about the church? ED can't say anything good. Executive director has nothing positive to say about the organization. Thank you, Sarlux, but I'm going to say that everybody is doing the work, right? That you're watching helps me understand that it's valid work. The likes, subscribes, folks who are able to and can donate, I really appreciate that. My hope is that as I'm encouraging you to write letters to the governor, congressman, the mayor, the ward alderman, that we're able to make sure we are writing those. Don't assume that the other person in chat's going to write those letters. It's really up to you. So we've confronted somebody at the bottom of the street. Sakala has made contact with another uniformed member down at the bottom of the street. They're kind of like in front of the nail salon way down there. They're that's the juice bar. I can see other customers walking out right now. Was just curious if he turned back to going to the church or going to college. I think he's making a phone call to see if he's supposed to be here or not. Sorry, I was patiently watching as he was looking through there. I have a feeling he got a text that said, "Come around back." And as I was watching him, I lost track of the two org members at the bottom of the street. So they may have gone around back as well. Somebody just tried to pop out this door, saw me, and went back in. That's great news. I will reach out and see if I can make contact with her. I assume her. Sorry. Remember, it's Bill Conway is the 34th Ward Alderman. Some of the other things that really make me feel like there's a difference being made when we're out here is that as I've been here so often, neighbors now are asking me why am I here and getting better information as to what this cult is all about. And yes, I'm making those conversations in front of masses of people that walk by just so they kind of turn their head and realize what's going on. Yeah, so the city is aldermanic, but I would say this, that the aldermen gave us promises and assurances about the opening, and they all fell flat. That at no point did they defend the permit. and forced the organization to remove their violations. They said, oh, we'll take care of it on Tuesday. Putting the camera up again just because we've got students coming by. Oh, as I was saying, right, that the community now understands that, hey, I'm doing something to try and help protect them against the predatory behavior and deceptive practices of this cult. And the people who, like, when their eyes pop out after they've been given a flyer and I inform them what that flyer is, and they immediately hand the flyer right back to me. It helps me feel good about what we're doing out here. And my goal is not to get all of these org members to quit. And again, if one of them does, great. I want to make sure that I've always got the bug in their ear in that space. But my objective really is to make sure that they can't recruit new members. I'm going to notice that this can is off of the curb. I'm going to pick that up and go ahead and throw it out. To avoid the claim that I was trespassing. It is a very pretty day out here today. Definitely have a lot of people on the sidewalk. Vast majority of them are parents and friends of the college students who I think it's end of semester, so they're moving out, heading back home for the summer, or heading elsewhere for the summer. Yeah, and I want to say that the law says you shall not mark. So you either enforce the law or you don't enforce the law, period. So I would love, Joan, do you happen to have a name of anybody? Oh, I'm sorry, I read it too quickly. So apparently, yeah, no answer, and he hung up. Anything positive to share about the church? Do you have any gains this week? Am I still crushing everybody's stats? Yeah, one of the things that I do want to show is that Officer or Sergeant McCarsky was extremely intentional about telling me that if I approached somebody and put my camera in their face, they had every right to defend themselves and they could strike me if they wanted to. So I always love it when the police say that violence is a good avenue of regress. We absolutely know that had I moved that woman's camera away from me, that I would be in jail for assault. Now, assault is not contact. You can verbally assault somebody with fighting words and saying, I'm about to punch you, I'm about to strike you, whatever that case may be. The other one is you can approach them in such a way as they would have, the reasonable person would have every intention to think that they're about to be injured or harmed or contacted. And if we watch that video, it's rather clear that that person invaded my space and continued to invade my space even as I retreated. I want to see what the police have to say about how that is different than the made-up things that they thought I might do and wanted to warn me against. It's still very annoying to me that the police want to tell me laws that I haven't broken. I pulled a page out of DOA's book when he was first confronting me. Excellent. Thanks, Jen Wow. I did pull a page out of DOA's book, and when the cop was trying to explain to me that I can't put my camera in somebody's face, I mentioned to him that I probably shouldn't eat yellow snow as well. Gravity just won a battle over here. That I probably shouldn't eat yellow snow, and that picking my nose in public would be a bad idea, right? Just to let him know that there's a billion things that I shouldn't do, but I haven't done, so no need to remind me about them. Thank you, Nikki. I appreciate that. Howdy, Corn. Corn, I was finally able to stitch together yours and Free Xenu's video along with mine, and we've got the 3-panel synchronized so that we can see that the assailants did take steps towards me, and regardless of the police officers' claim that, well, maybe they didn't understand English, or maybe they didn't understand what they were doing, it's obvious what they were doing. And in reality, their act was illegal. And regardless of their ability to comprehend, ignorance of the law is no excuse. This one comes in with Chadwick a lot. Happy Mother's Day. Anything positive to say about the church? There's just nothing positive to say about your cult? Howdy, Pop Groomer. And those are really good resources. I know that Free Xenu had come with several of the business cards, so I keep the business cards on me with the SPTV Foundation QR codes and phone numbers. Yeah, I just thought it was such a straw man argument that went nowhere, and at the end of the day, they escalated. And it's not my job not to make them escalate. It's their job not to escalate. Yeah, that's the other one. Is there's no hate speech in it. So regardless of the media, you can't put hate speech anywhere. And there was no hate speech. I can back up everything that I said in there. There are plenty of definitions that would easily tell us that what this organization is 100% a cult. They do believe in a space fantasy. They do believe that we're the scourge of the galaxy. We were rounded up because Xenu didn't like us, and we were overcrowding, and we're impinging upon him. So he put us on a DC-8 rocket ship. So they were able to travel millions of light years, but the best we could come up with in our fantasy space opera was that it was a DC-8, which, by the way, the DC-8 hasn't been in service for decades at this point in time. Police coming down with their lights, but they're going past. He might have come back. He might have had the lights on just to get through the stoplight. All right, 121. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to head down to Polk and go out to the alley, see if anybody wanted to refresh their cigarette. I was really hoping that I would be able to interact with the woman that we talked to about her back pain last Sunday and wish her a happy Mother's Day. There are several staff members in this cult that you'd almost want to be your grandmother, right? They're just great, kindly, elderly, sweet ladies. And they're letter writers. So they do remind me of my grandmother. My grandmother might have been the last letter writer. Just a reminder to everybody that both the 18th and the 25th have been noted as potential dates that the executive director is either going to marry or renew vows. So I think that's a trivial detail in that space. I don't really care whether or not it's a renewal of vows or a wedding. It will be a celebration with many people here, probably a lot of publics. And it's the executive director and Crystal Ehrlich. Both of them work at Dream Exchange. The ED, Joe Cicala III, is the son of the founding member of Dream Exchange. Yeah, we've got nobody back here right now. That originally the date was the 18th. They then, on the not.com or something like that, they then changed it to the 25th. And I would say that that might have been a tactic to say, hey, let's get everybody to think it's the 25th. We'll do it on the 18th. And then when everybody shows up on the 25th, it'll have already been done. So I do have every expectation of being here both on the 18th and on the 25th. Will do. We haven't seen Chadwick yet, but I will say that the long dark-haired woman that was the last person to enter the org, very often I see those two walking together. And there's no insinuation of a relationship or anything, but I feel like they're on the same staff sequence, or their time slots are the same. They also walk from the same distance, so they're coming all the way from State Street. She is the one that last Sunday was the key holder to let the three people enter the org as I approached. One of those people being the DSA. The DSA is the person who called the police on me and communicated, oh, I think we've got Israel here. The DSA is the person who doxed me, communicated with me, which, you know, usually you got to be pretty high up in the org in order to be able to talk to an SP. So we've got that. As I approach the org, we're going to see Israel's here. Israel Brownstein, 7700, I believe.
What's up?
How you doing, Israel?
How you doing? Everything good?
Yes, yes.
Is there any way? How do I know it? I don't know. People are not. There's people there, but they're not telling me if they can hear me.
Can you guys do me a favor? And can you go over to Israel Brownstein, or Stein?
Yeah.
7700, and just go ahead and put a comment in his chat.
Yeah. Let me know if you guys can hear me. So I'll stop for a second and talk. Well, what are you doing?
Not too bad. A lot of people out in the alley when I first got here.
Really?
They actually stayed and listened to me for a little bit, but as soon as I started talking about the crimes of Scientology, they all went inside.
Okay.
Haven't seen any body routers. I did walk the closest
I was at the
two
train
streets.
too. I didn't see anybody.
Yeah.
I usually see at least like one person.
LaSalle Street?
No, I actually, like, when I get off at Harrison, I even
Okay,
go
they're down there.
at Jackson. Basically,
So she's a staff member. She's got
is?
civilian clothes on today, but she's
You know
staff
who she
member.
is?
I don't know her name,
You
but
recognize
yeah.
it. So yeah, no. There's always someone there by Jackson, or I can't remember the stop after Harrison.
RED or blue? Red or
It's
blue?
red.
Okay, interesting. So I have seen them in there.
Yeah, they're definitely down there.
You know what it is?
It's one stop away is what they
Yeah.
do, and they say,
Yeah.
you know, one stop, you get off at Harrison.
That
That's
makes
what
sense.
that's literally what they, like
Yeah.
I've heard them talking.
The
They don't scatter. I don't think that they think I'm super.
yeah, I wonder.
dangerous
Oh,
to
well, do you
them.
talk? Do you talk to them or confront them?
I do. You know, I'm myself. One of the things that I've been talking about in this group, I was talking to them, yeah, let me know, D Savage, if you can hear me. I just want to know if you can hear me. I appreciate anybody that comes by. I just want to know if you can hear me. What I was discussing in the chat before was that one of the things I've taken a deep dive into is the context of having a personality.
Yeah.
And one's identity, essentially, you know? And what does it mean? Oh, look at these people. I wonder if they're... Hello.
How do you like our new cult?
How do you guys feel about Scientology?
I don't know that much about it.
So they practice human trafficking, child abuse, elder abuse, money. It's not a church. It's a money laundering scheme. So you go in and you spend money
All
in
I've
there.
heard about it is that some guy who like wrote books.
Yes.
It's awesome that you're walking right by like it's nothing, because it is. But anyway, that's what I major, like in a major way, I've been trying to understand. You know, there's almost a certain look that people have, and I was like, I continuously tell them to respect the people that survive and get out.
Yeah.
But there's like also look where there's this lack of identity. It's like
Hollow.
yeah, it's like how like you don't see it in their eyes, and it makes me so sad that they seem lost within the context of like whatever you want to call larger society.
Right.
So I've been thinking about that. So I think that what I noticed also is we all have our own identities, right? But at least we're aware of that. So you have your way of approaching it. Shannon has her way of approaching it. Corn has her way of approaching it. I have my way of approaching it. And we're all good with that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Correct.
Will in California, right?
We can have the same goal and different tactics.
Exactly. But that's part of what they don't get. For them, they all have to be little robots, and they're all, you know, it's not for them. It's not like I can do it my way. You know, it's one of the things I pointed out to them. So, well, somebody mentioned to me, well, you're creating this group itself. Hey, Biggie Long Dog, hey. And I just said, well, you know, we're not an organization, A, and B, I'm like, you really just made a great point. And I'll tell you what your point is. Your point is how significantly different it is for everything else in society, because I am who I am.
Correct.
I represent what I represent, and I'm comfortable with that. And if I'm not, then I'm working on it.
Yeah.
Whether it's therapy or friends or whatever. You know, they're not.
Correct.
They're forced into this mold.
You will hear that. Sorry.
Yeah.
You will hear PTS for Life, Jeff, out in Vancouver.
Yeah.
He does a great breakdown of the idea that one of their real early objectives is to remove you of your identity and make you understand that you're part of a group and you don't exist outside the group.
It's like, but here's the thing: the us and them. There's other organizations that do have that. Like within most religions, you feel like, well, I know the truth. You don't, but there's still this aspect of like, you still have an identity. You know what I'm trying to say? My dad's a big rabbi, pretty right wing, you know, orthodox. I'm not talking about politics, but you know, right wing. But like, it's not like he looks at the rest of the world like, oh, like they don't have an identity. You know what I'm trying to say? Like,
absolutely.
He still understands the difference, you know, between the way he interacts with these. I recognize that you never. Besides that one show.
Anything positive to say about the church? Is there nothing positive about this church? Why should we come inside?
I'm curious. I really am. And so, yeah, I mean, that's my newfound objective. Is
Nice.
Coming out about that. I mean, it's like coming and talking about that.
I like that. With your background, I think you're well equipped to.
Yeah, it's also probably why I'm focused on that aspect. But how have things been going? Has it been crazy here at all or not?
Not really. So, what have we been here? Just at an hour right now.
Okay.
Like I said, a lot of people out back. We have seen people come in. The one fun thing I did do is somebody tried to come in the front door, and they got up to about here before they realized I was here. Yeah. So they went all the way down and went to the back door. So then we went around to the back, and they saw me there again, and they went all the way around and they came in the front.
It's dude, it's like out of control. It's like how old are you? It's
right.
Like literally, how old are you? It's not even like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Like,
and he had headphones on when we got there originally. Yes, happy Mother's Day, Corn.
Yes. Yes, happy Mother. That's right. Happy Mother's Day to everybody. Later, I'm gonna go hang out with my mom,
Nice.
kids' mom. All the best. Yeah.
And I think I saw Trashy was at a car show today or this weekend.
Oh yeah, I think he was there yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Sound is good. Thank you, Susan. SID. But so it's been pretty much.
Yeah, it's really quiet. Yeah.
Okay.
Are you gonna be here for a bit?
Oh yeah.
What I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna see if I can. I'll head over to the park and see if I can find where anybody might be. Yeah.
I'll be here.
Okay.
I'm
Cool.
gonna be here for at least another few hours.
All right. I'll be back.
All right.
Take care.
See you, brothers.
So there you have Israel. I'm gonna leave Israel in front of the org. I'm gonna head over to Grant Park just to see Michigan Avenue, just to see if I can find any routers out there. What was it? Maybe a month ago that we'd be out here and our hands would be frozen by the end of the time we were protesting, and now it's gotten to the point where I'm wearing just a thin long sleeve T-shirt and I'm well overdressed right now, hoping for the shade whenever I can get into it. On the other channel, and the other channel is more of a travel blog about the city. On the other channel yesterday, I did a live, and what I'm going to do is the raw footage I'm going to do live, and then I'll compose a story and build videos out of all that raw footage. But when you catch me on the live, you can say, hey, go look over there, go look over here, ask me questions in that space, and then I'll go ahead and compose the curated video of that space. But we looked at the 606 trail yesterday, and the 606 trail is currently, it's a park which a lot of people will run, walk, or cycle on. Nobody back here, so we'll head over to state. Run, walk, or cycle on, and it's an old rail system. So Chicago was a very important railroad hub. If you wanted to get out to the west, because the way that Lake Michigan is vertical, you kind of had to come around the bottom and pass through Chicago. So there were an awful lot of rails, many different companies, but eventually as they would consolidate, they would realize, well, we don't need that many rails, so they would deprecate some of the rail systems. And there's a rail system that runs at about maybe 1800 north. Remember, Chicago's on a grid system. Madison is the 0th street here. It runs about 1800 north, and it goes from Ashland all the way out to Hamlin, or the Exelon Park. And yesterday we did the first mile of it. We see the beautiful St. Mary's of the Angels Church. Some very nice homes there. You see, because you're elevated a little bit, we get a better view of what the alleys look like and how the alley systems in Chicago work. So in Chicago, it was designed such that most services service the house or the business from the alley. So your garbage goes about the back, your supplies come in the back. Customers use the front door. The utility, so the phone lines go down the back alleys as well in that space. I'm looking up Dearborn. We're not really seeing anything. The other one is that, remember last week I also traversed the entirety of Western Avenue from Evanston down to Blue Island. And I'll cut that together. The significance of Western Avenue is it is the longest contiguous street in Chicago. So there are no, it doesn't take any S-turns or anything like that. It's just a straight shot from north to south. Now there is a point where it becomes a boulevard, but you can stay on the straight spot the entire time as it becomes that boulevard. The boulevard system in Chicago, I don't know how it's defined in all cities, but in Chicago, it is usually a tree-lined and tree-centered street. And you are not allowed to have anything but passenger vehicles. So you're not supposed to have pickup trucks on the boulevards. And it was a way of creating green space, even in the street system of the city. If you wanted to, you could start down at the University of Chicago, which is where the World's Fair was at, and take the Greenway all the way up out to Douglas Park, up California, through Garfield Park, through Humboldt Park, through Franklin Park, and eventually get back out to the lake, and have always been in a greenway the whole time. I assume some of you might be at home, and if so, if you're checking in with both me and Israel, that'd be great. Let me know if anything happens significantly over there, or if it's important that I head back that direction. Right now, we're really just going to see if we can find anybody out here passing out flyers. We are on Balbo now. On yesterday's video on the other channel, Windy Wanders the City, you'll see that there's an awful lot of murals up on the 606 as well. We are now walking past Buddy Guy's Ledges. Heading to Wabash. If you're north of Congress on Wabash, the elevated tracks run over the top of you. Since we're south of Congress, or Ida B. Wells, it runs through the alley. Yeah, there's no real activity here, so I'm not seeing any gold vests, blue suits. Kind of quickly get across the street here. Thank you, Marina. Make sure you stay safe. We've got a couple of suits ahead of us, but they're airline pilots who have spent the night at the Hilton, and they're probably heading back to the airport now for a return leg. Thank you, Sally. I appreciate that. Yep. Happy Mother's Day to all if you're just joining me and haven't heard yet. I was able to spend some time with my family this morning. So now we're to Michigan Avenue. Boy, if there's routers out here, they'll end up roasting today. They're going to have a tough summer if they have to wear those uniforms all the time. Heading down, let me get that skyscraper all the way in and then give you a good scan here. Down to Balbo. I'm going to go ahead and walk north on this side of the street. There must be a convention in town because everybody coming down the street has a lanyard and an identification tag. I'm going to keep the video off them so as not to expose all their info. Kind of came across real quick on the left-hand turn. Usually the cars don't react as quick. Now we're heading up Michigan Avenue. So this is the bookstore for Columbia College over here on Michigan Avenue. It's inside the Blackstone Hotel. There's a lot of college kids here, folks. We see the just one of several dorms that the college students are in. I had dinner with somebody last night who went to Columbia, and that building that's at the T intersection of Harrison and State, you must be a university student, but you can be a university student for Roosevelt, Robert Morris, or Columbia College to take up residency there. We're coming up on a Jehovah's Witness stand. I'm guessing it's Jehovah's Witness. This just looks like what they do. Yeah. So their Bible course. Also, right, we've got the Columbia College here. This is their Museum of Contemporary Photography. Look, they invite too. Not seeing anybody over in the park. Oh, let me keep on copyright. It's very annoying. That barbershop plays that music very, very loud. Yeah, I want to let anybody know if you're able to, or you feel willing that you want to support me, there's an awful lot of information on the link tree. If you ever feel that you want to get a hold of me and talk to me about anything, the best email to get a hold of me at is right here. And I'll put this up, but I don't think it'll do any good because nobody's going to want to write all these letters. But this is the actual 606 video from yesterday. It's interesting. So this seminar, there's so many people that are dressed rather casual and so many people that are in suits. That or not, but just a great view. So that's on the left-hand side, that wall of buildings is all business, and it's the Illinois Center, and it goes north for like 4 blocks all the way to the river. And then on the right of that is residential, and that's a community called Lakeshore East. In the middle of it, it's a lot of high-rise buildings, which surround a little park in the middle of that. And there's a beautiful little path to exit that and get under Lakeshore Drive so that you can be on the lakefront path very quickly. We'll go up to Jackson here, which is 2 more blocks. And if we don't see anything, we'll go ahead and head back towards the org. I need to get more used to using a system where I still want to be able to put your chats up there. Howdy, Jurgen, welcome in. Right now, we're kind of looking to see if there's any body routers out here on the main streets of Chicago. Earlier, when we arrived at the org, I'm going to put you on mute for just a second. Sorry. When we arrived at the org today, I went into the alley, and there was a group of 6 to 8 members in public in the alley smoking. I went down the alley. They usually scatter before I get to them, but today they stood around, and then I started reciting some of the. I first asked them if they had anything positive to say about their church, and then I asked them, or I started reciting a limited list of the crimes that the church commits and allows its members to commit. Then they all scrambled inside. So they're getting more bold. Yeah, Sally, am I still frozen? Because I think it was when I was at Congress, I froze up for a bit. And hopefully the mic's back on by now. Yeah, I'm guessing it's because my phone service towers are a little bit further into the city, nothing on the lakefront. So these are people that, as you come down the Congress Expressway, so 2 blocks ahead of me is the large fountain that they put in. So right, the Buckingham Fountain is there. And then as you come down the street from the Buckingham Fountain, it splits so that you can turn down both one street north of and one street south of the Congress Expressway. Thank you, Sal. Got a standard poodle coming out the street, prancing like a princess. Yeah, we're still not seeing much. So when I get to Jackson, which is the next street, I'll go ahead and head back towards the org. One thing we did notice is that they will try to push into the central business district on the weekdays. And last Sunday, they definitely did that as well. So the body routers went north of Ida B. Wells or the Congress Expressway. This is a neat place. Kilwins. They do an awful lot of chocolate and fudge. Make it right there in the window. It's a beautiful building. This is 310 South Michigan. It used to be called the Bankers Building, and it had a colossal interior area with a balcony all around that interior area, and it operated both as a retail bank, and then you would have the bank-to-bank business happening on the higher levels of the building. The Chicago Cultural Society used to be inside of this building. They've now moved up to Wacker Drive. If you're ever in the city, you'll want to go and visit that. It's a free tour, and what they have is a plastic model of basically the entire city. So it goes well past the river, and then all the way up to the top of Streeterville or Gold Coast, and down to like McCormick Place. And it's in 3D, so as you look at it, you get a really good view of what the city looks like. We're heading back to Wacker, and if you remember what I said earlier, that Wacker we're heading back to Wabash. The rail system rides over the top of Wabash here in the loop, and then when we get, so we're seeing this. Here's DePaul's College of Law. This used to be the John Marshall Law School, but DePaul took it over. So again, you've got students within 5 blocks of the organization right here. Everything upstairs is residential on all of these buildings. The bottom floors will be retail. Gonna head back to the org. We're 2 blocks north of Congress Expressway. And we are just now coming up on State. So you've got State, Dearborn, Clark. There's a couple of half streets in the middle, Plymouth and Federal, which they're not really, they don't really go the entire distance of the loop. In some places they're alleys, and in other places they're streets. Here again, we can see the Chicago Public Library and the park in front of it. The red line, which we heard Israel talk about earlier, goes underneath this street. And this is where he said that sometimes he'll see body routers down there. And now we're coming up to the federal buildings. So security was just waving some folks out of the federal building. We're about to go past the place that is probably the most prominent Chicagoan smell that there is. Garrett's Popcorn. There are very few, if you say you're going to Chicago, almost everybody's gonna say, hey, can you get me some Garrett's? And if you could smell through the camera, you would definitely smell that right now. The signature is the half cheese, half caramel corn, third caramel corn, third cheese, third buttered. Kind of got my head on a swivel just to see if I can find anybody passing out any literature. Not sure if maybe there's an event going on there. But I cut you off. Oh, I didn't mean to. Sorry. Definitely love having the people in. The views matter. The likes matter. The subscribes matter. Share the channel. Is either the vlog or the travel vlog or Scientology protesting something that any of your friends would be interested in? You know, let's make the pie as big as possible in regards to protesting the cultic behaviors of this organization. If we were to keep going forward, we would hit Wells Street, which sadly I've told you that there's Ida B. Wells, which is the east-west street that used to be Congress Expressway, and then just a block or two west of the organization is a street called Wells Street, and that's a north-south street. So you could actually live at the corner of Wells and Wells. That's okay. You can just sit here and chat with us for a bit, Nikki. Thank you. The triangular building here is the Metropolitan Prison. if you were watching last Sunday, and I just put up the video that's got kind of an edit of just the interactions that occurred on the body routing, you will have seen that the closest that I ever came to the woman who assaulted me was at this grocery store right here, or bodega. And she went in there, and I stood with my back against the upright post here. So she went in there. I stood right here. I let her come out. I let her travel whichever direction she wanted to go. And then I started following her again. We are heading south. So our next street will be Ida B. Wells. And that's where the immigration courthouse is at. Of course, there's nothing going on in the immigration courthouse today. It's a Sunday. It is Mother's Day. And again, happy Mother's Day to all. And call your parents. Call your mom. Here's a gentleman with a bundle of flowers, hopefully for his mother. Sorry, I'm trying to multitask right now. I've got responding to a couple of comments on YouTube. All right. Putting my phone away. Oh, look at this. See if he notices I'm here. So the flyer of the day is Dianetics. He doesn't see me yet, does he? Waving to him. He's got something on his wristband too. Anything positive to say about your church? So there's nothing positive about the cult of Scientology? You ready to run back in, hide inside? It's the cult of Scientology. Es una secta. Es una secta. It's Scientology. Thank you, sir. It's just money. They're gonna take your money. They're gonna separate you from the family. They're gonna give you this science fiction fantasy about what their religion is.
Thank you for
Yes.
telling the truth.
So, do you want those? Thank you. How do you like them apples? And where's my Gotham's? Dave, I think they did the smoke break wrong because they didn't smoke enough cigarettes, and I fear they might contract cancer if the source is correct. And back into the org. Got to hide inside. Israel, my man. Why am I finding body riders outside? Did he walk out the front or did he go out the back? Okay, I just saw him go inside, yeah. So I chased him back here. So
Today is supposed to be a big day, right?
not really.
Oh,
That
not really?
they'll always put this out and they'll say that it's a grand reopening or they'll talk it up, but it's the same
No,
ticket. It's the same flyer
but
you've seen
it's-
forever.
It's the anniversary of Dianetics.
The 9th. Oh, you know what? They might be doing the weekend celebration
That's
of
what I'm
Dianetics.
wondering.
Yeah, that might be possible. Because you're right. May 9th is the
Right.
publishing
It
date.
just was.
Yep.
But this is the weekend.
So
I just wonder, because they were pretty, you probably got them shut down though right when you got it, right?
Yeah.
Was the
Yes.
door open when you
No.
got it? There
So
wasn't no-
because I went to the back first
Okay.
and they all came in the back, so I'm sure that at that point they would have
They saw,
brought the shades
they
down.
saw. Yeah, they were so sad. This family, like you can see them working in the restaurant together.
Yeah.
And that guy that's standing there, there's no way that's restaurant. There's no
No.
chance. No chance that that's restaurant staff.
So I think he's going to try and go out the front. So I'll ask people that see it on your channel. If they see it on your channel, let me know, and I'll come back out front. Yep. Yeah, and nothing, right? So he was saying I tried to get them to engage, and they won't engage. Also, kudos to the guy on the 10-speed. Well, 10-speed in a suit on 80-degree day. That's a tough day, but that kudos to him for also realizing that it's a sect and a very dangerous thing. He was telling the two people there that it was very dangerous, just the same as I was. And then he turned around and said, "Thank you for what I'm doing." And again, if this only happened one time, it's really worth it, right? But I've been pretty consistent in my ability to help people understand what they just received and to thwart the efforts of the church to continually get people through those front doors. I am one person. If you're somebody in or near Chicago or any other organization, come out and do this. It doesn't really take much. Give them fair distance, wait until they hand the flyer off, then tell the people that they gave the flyer to what they just received. We're going to see if he snuck to the back. And by the way, if I was his boss, I'd be pretty pissed that he was standing around for a couple of minutes, not doing anything there, tapping away on his phone. So there is somebody in the alley, but it looks to be a civilian with just walking their dog. Oh, even when I got back over here? I'm gonna have to check and see if there's anything I can do to help get better reception. There's a car at the very far end, but he turned his lights off and he's basically down at the residence of that last building. If anybody is watching both myself and Israel, again, Israel Brownstein, 7700, let me know if you see anybody go out that front door. Absolutely. Thanks for that, Dave. It's really sickening. And again, I stood up for the police for the longest time because I thought that they treated us fairly respectfully. But it's just been ridiculous in this space. Howdy, David John. If you're just joining us, upside down. Let's go with this. They're upside down all the time anyhow. So they were. I was able to intercept the body router. He tried to hand out to a couple that was on the corner. I was able to express to him how dangerous this cult is, and they gave me their flyers. Dave, I need somebody to use my got 'em emoji. As we approached the org this morning, sorry, we didn't get here until just 12:30. When we approached, I came into the alley first, and there was 6 to 8 Scientologists down there out on their smoke break. Normally, they go back in before I get back to that door. So I walked down the alley and fully expecting them all to scatter, and they didn't. Thank you, Dave. Then when I got there, it's like, oh, wow, they're going to just sit here and let me talk. So I asked any of them if there was anything positive about the church that they wanted to tell me, to which nobody responded. Then I started listing off some of the crimes of the church and its members, and very quickly they then decided maybe we have to go inside. So I probably gave them all cancer because I didn't allow them to smoke enough.
Better berries.
So there he is. I'm going to get out of his way. So he's going down to Polk Street. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get down there quickly, because he's been able to evade me a few times.
Good looking, huh?
So I'll say in the chat, somebody asked me if I walked fast or if I run or if I had a skateboard or a platform. And nope, just jogging around. I'm doing 3x speed in real time. Yeah, he's at the stoplight down there. Let me walk closer to the trees, kind of obscure myself from his view. Kind of looking further down Clark to see if he went that way, and he didn't. He might have got across the street and be on Polk. Oh, I see him now. He's behind me. So he's on the south side of the street. I know a little bit about this neighborhood, so he would have had to come around the restaurant to go into the restaurant. He either scrambled back across the street, or he's sitting in the parking lot ahead of me. Because he probably wanted to make sure he got out of my view before I turned back. Yeah, so he didn't go back down the well. If he went back down the alley, he hid. These are all residential, so unless he was able to trail somebody in, he is most likely over in this area. Just a garbage can right there. Sorry, I'm looking ahead of me to see if I can find him up there. I really enjoy this restaurant as well, by the way. So it's a Good Eats brand. They've both got the coffee shop next door, but it's called Social with an E. Yeah, so he didn't go back in the, well, if he went back in the alley, he might be hiding in one of those little coves. Since when I got the glimpse of him on Polk, I walked away from him. He might have thought it was safer to come this direction, but he had to get pretty far. Like, this is, unless you're a resident, it's hard to get in here. If he goes underneath this viaduct, which again, I think I would have seen him, even if he was running. I think I would have seen him. So I think he's hunkered down right now. Howdy, never in. Howdy, no one. So we came to the org today. There were some people out in the alley smoking. I was able to get them to go back inside. This is about where he was when I walked onto that street over there. So there's just a limited number of places that he could have hid. And I came across the body router as I was walking back to the org. He engaged a couple on the street, and I was able to go ahead and inform them. I had help from just a kindly neighborhood person on a bicycle. And we both let this couple know that it was a very dangerous cult that had just handed them information. Let's see, in order for me to, well, I'm trying to kind of gauge here, right? So I was in the middle of that brown patio area when I caught him back where I was standing. I'm trying to think of where he could have gotten to. I think what I'll try to do is hang in the middle of Clark. Again, I just got my head on a swivel, trying to find him. He's in a dark suit. He does stand out. He might have crossed the street and turned up Clark on the front. So if anybody's watching Israel, did he go back in the front door? Yeah, could you see in at this point? Never in. And like the last time I was up there, you could just see garbage bags all over the floor in there, stacked up 2-3 high. Yeah, I just don't know if I turned them back inside or not.
You see him?
Did he come back in again?
Yep. What's his name?
Did he come back in the second time?
The guy with the blue suit, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So
So I caught him down here.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So and I was worried because I was like, how did he get past
so
me?
few people have like an individual. He actually, it's interesting because he's the guy also that approached me, and Trashy that day to try to say, oh, your wallet was in the police station.
No, now I know you're talking about Chadwick. I know you're talking about Chadwick Burke.
So that's guaranteed. He's the one that just walked.
Okay, gotcha. So we just had a Chadwick Burke
Yes,
sighting.
yes, that's. I mean, I can tell he was.
Yeah.
But he actually was willing to speak to us that day just because he wanted us
Yes.
to. But it's really crazy. He gets you stop for a second and think like, wait, you're not. What? I feel like you don't understand. I went to SRA. I'm like, don't respond. You know. He wanted to dox Trashy. He wanted to dox SRA. That's it. Is it true that you got doxxed?
Yeah.
I heard it through the rumor mill.
Yeah.
Have they bothered you, or they just doxed you? Who cares?
Yep. So one of the things I said, I
For
would.
me, it's the safety of my children. It's the only reason I would care.
Yeah.
But I knew right away there would be no way. I
So
make sure they're safe. Yeah.
Yeah. I let everybody know my name. That's my name. So.
Oh, okay. You go by your name.
Yeah.
But, yeah, you know my name. Yeah, this is another family.
Yeah.
What do you think?
They are looking at the address.
Hello. Hello. I don't know. I have a strong suspicion. There's another family that also walked in around the same time that they walked in. So I have a suspicion. There's no door that connects them to, right? They just go to the back and flip in.
Correct. Yep. So they can go out in the alley and then they come back in the alley.
No tunnels.
Yeah. So.
There was a couple parents that actively kids car, and one of the parents, like, they pulled up right next to me. I thought they were upset because I stand in the street. They were, you know, really in the group, this guy yelling like that. What was it? Oh, and the parent pulled up and was like, "Thank you, really, thank you for the work.
Yep.
Thank you, really, thank you for what you do." They're super appreciative.
I agree. Yeah, I've had several encounters. Sometimes people are like, "Hey, you're putting a lot of pressure on the family," and then they realize that, hey, what this church is capable of doing. Yeah.
So
maybe we don't mind that our kids have to be under this.
Exactly.
So.
They're saying yes, that we're talking about the same guy. They're saying that.
Yeah, Chadwick. Yep. All right. I think my guy got away from me. I need to go home and get some shopping in. So I will talk to you later. I might come out later on. We'll see. So
is anyone else supposed to come?
I don't know that.
Mother's Day?
Yeah. So I don't know what they'd be doing today. Like I said, Trashy probably is involved in the car show. And then the other one, maybe Shannon, but
Shannon's not. I was thinking Juanita and Corn.
Yeah.
Two people I thought maybe.
Corn's spending time with her family today. It's Mother's Day, so.
Probably Juanita too. Because of her family. Yeah, so I was like, yeah. Yeah, I mean, if like no one else comes and the doors shut, I myself will go a little early. My sister is hosting tonight's
Nice.
Mother's Day party.
Sunday is not really significant at all, right? So it's Friday night and Saturday, right?
No, for Mother's Day.
Okay,
We're
correct.
having a barbecue for Mother's Day.
You mean everybody celebrates Mother's Day?
Besides, you know, there was one rabbi, one of the head rabbis of the world used to get right. He said, "We don't celebrate Mother's Day. Every day is Mother's Day."
Yes. Which I do kind of. There's part of me that
yeah.
Why do we only have one day?
I can't agree with it more, but I will say it's still good to have a day to stop for a second and recognize. And
100%.
I did send my mom a message today, even though she wouldn't be upset if she didn't get that Mother's Day message today, but it made her smile. You know.
It's excellent. Love it.
Yeah, I'm going to be traveling. So we'll be live all over the place.
Very nice. I like that.
That's all you want.
Definitely. I'll send you an email tonight.
Yeah, send me an email.
Cool. All right.
All right.
I'm gonna head out.
Man.
Take
Great
care.
to see you.
All right. If we could go ahead and start gathering up our raid, I think I'm gonna head home. You know, it's fully understandable, and never feel obliged in this space. Israel might be somebody we want to, go ahead and raid, or if there's anybody else out there, let's go ahead and raid them. Today, again, we at least stopped one more couple from heading into the church, and I'll take that as a win. We had the shades down before we came out front. You know, I'm guessing that those came down when I was out back. If you get a chance to, please watch the video. Dave put the link in a little bit earlier, but it's the video that shows how Chicago Police Department really is in bed with the Church of Scientology. They would warn me repeatedly about activities that I've never partaken in and telling me I can't do that. And then when a member of the church does it, they say, oh, that's no big deal. Yeah, I don't see a crime there. So it's a shame. Yeah, sorry, Renoir. So, and I'll try to put the chapter marks in there as quickly as possible. We're heading north to the Blue Line train station. I'll go ahead, and that might be another reason why they're on the red line. So I might try to switch it up and come down the red line in the future, because I can kind of make a change to make that happen. Hello, Juanita. Happy Mother's Day to you. All right, folks. Do we have somebody that we can raid? We're going to head over to Israel's. Show Israel some love. Give him some subs. Like, subscribe. I am going to bid you all adieu and wish you all a great Mother's Day. And if you haven't talked to your mother yet, make sure you do. Thank you, everybody.